So first things first with trapping, we're staying with it until she gets rid of that ball. We're not abandoning the trap until she passes it off. And that might mean in some cases you're trapping her all the way back to half court, but 99% of the time we're staying with the trap until she gets rid of the ball. So of course, first, these two players in the trap got to make sure they're communicating on the same page. And then it essentially works like a funnel. One defender's job is to cut her off from going right, and the other defender's job is to cut her off from going left, and then just working together to not get split and give that ball handler nowhere to go. And here they do a great job coming off tight off that screen, giving no breathing room, trapping aggressively, really forcing the ball handler back and the ball out of her hands. And then same concepts here. You can see how aggressive that trap gets and how committed you have to be to that trap sometimes, in this case forcing the ball all the way back to half court. And again, we're watching these two defenders on the trap, and they do an awesome job trapping aggressively off that screen, coming off really tight. And you can see how each defender is angled, taking care of their side of the trap and giving the ball handler nowhere to go but backwards. So they get her away from the basket, get the ball out of her hands, and then we gotta talk about what we do recovering from that trap. And this play is definitely an ideal situation in terms of what we're getting out of this trap. And that comes down to both a well-executed trap as well as the rest of the team doing their part. So again, we got a good aggressive trap forcing the ball out of that player's hands. But of course, anytime that we trap and we got two defenders guarding the ball, the rest of the team is at a disadvantage. So we'll observe the awareness here to not just stay in her spot, but go anticipate that obvious next pass and turn it into a steal. And in this case, that next pass was fairly obvious. The ball handler really had nowhere else to go. But anytime that we trap or gamble, things might not go textbook according to plan, but we just gotta scramble and work as a team. And this play is a great example of how those off-ball defenders can scramble and help so that we can recover out of the trap. So again, we got a great trap coming off of the ball screen here. Same concepts, tight off the screen, good angles. But now I want to pay attention to these two off-ball defenders. Right now, they're essentially responsible for these three players on the offensive team. And until the ball is actually moved, they're doing a great job of playing in between and anticipating. And this is pretty close to perfect help defense. Not overshooting anything, but recovering as quickly as possible, giving the team a chance to get back into position, and then it turns into a steal. So when those two players are really out there trapping the ball well, the other three defenders have to do a good job anticipating, playing in between, and reading the situation. And typically, we're happy giving up that slow cross-court pass because it's easy to recover to. And they get a really good trap on the ball, so now we're watching how these three help defenders read the situation and don't necessarily just stick to their player. And knowing that the ball handler has to make a really difficult pass out of the trap, our first priority is typically the easiest passes out of it. So in this case, overplaying these two players is actually okay, because even if she can see that cross-court pass, it's going to be so slow and over the top that we're still able to recover. And you might not get a steal out of it every single time, but we applied some extra pressure, got the ball out of that player's hands, and the offense got nothing out of that screen action. So hopefully we're understanding what a good trap looks like now. That tight funnel, high pressure, hands up, not fouling. And then a lot comes down to understanding our rotations and our priorities out of it. For instance, Stewart here, choosing to help on what probably would be an easy layup, knowing that her teammate is about to recover back before choosing to go close out on that corner three. And decisions like that really come down to your understanding of defensive rotations, your team's game plan, the game situation, and personnel. So essentially, we want to get that trap as solid and as nightmarish as possible for the offense. And then anytime we're trapping, obviously we're putting that extra pressure on the ball, taking a bit of a gamble. So it's up to the whole team, all 5 players on the court, to read the situation, understand the game plan, and execute.